The silence here is different. It's not the heavy, waiting silence of that marble house where every sound echoed with expectation and unspoken lies. Here, by the sea, the silence is full. It breathes. It's filled with the rhythmic sigh of the waves, a constant gentle percussion against the shore. A natural heartbeat that has slowly, over these past months, become the soundtrack to my new life. I sold it all, you know. Every last carefully chosen piece of that beautiful stage set. The kitchen he loved to perform in. The art selected for its impact rather than its beauty. The furniture that was never meant for living, only for showcasing. It's all gone. Liquidated, the proceeds scattered to charities that help women find their footing in a world that often tries to knock them down. The money it brought is mine, clean and free, and it bought me this. This profound peace. This small, sun-drenched apartment where the light paints moving patterns on the wooden floor, and the only ghosts are the gulls crying their lonely, beautiful songs over the endless water. I thought I would dream about it, that the images would be seared onto the back of my eyelids. The look on his face when the screen changed at the gala. That moment of pure, uncomprehending terror before the dawning horror. The sound of his voice, that instrument of charm cracking like cheap plaster when he shouted, "Turn it off." I thought the memory of Isabel in handcuffs, her sharp, hungry face contorted in fury, would be a sweet, lingering taste on my tongue for years to come. A vintage of schadenfreude I could savor. But it's strange, it isn't. When I think of Liam now, sitting in a cold cell, his future a long gray corridor of nothingness, his name a punchline, his legacy ash, I feel nothing that burns. No fire of vengeance, no ice of hatred. Just a quiet, deep and final settling. A door inside me, once ripped from its hinges by the hurricane of his betrayal, now gently, firmly, and permanently closed. Locked. The war is over. The field is quiet, the smoke has cleared, and I am still standing. The silence is not the absence of sound, but the presence of peace. I didn't do it because I hated him. Isn't that the strangest part? The most difficult for others to understand? I did it because he handed me a key I didn't know I still possessed. He thought he was breaking me, shattering the woman he had carefully curated into a docile companion. But he was just chipping away the plaster, the drywall, the false fronts to reveal the solid steel structure I had always been underneath. He forced me to remember the person I was before I became his echo, before I softened my edges to fit the outline he had drawn for me. In his ultimate betrayal, he gave me back the most precious thing I had lost, myself. He was the anvil and I was the steel, and he hammered me until I was sharp, strong, and unbreakable. It was never about revenge, not in the way people think. It wasn't about making him hurt in the exact way I had hurt. That would have been a small, hollow victory, a temporary balm on a mortal wound. It would have meant I was still playing by his rules in his arena, defined by his actions. This was about reclamation. It was a long, calculated, and utterly necessary campaign to take back stolen territory. My dignity, my money, my story, my power, my very identity. He thought he was the author of our lives, the master artist who had painted this beautiful, enviable picture. He thought he could smudge it, tear it, and simply walk away to start a new canvas with someone else, leaving me weeping in the ruins. But he was wrong. So terribly, catastrophically wrong. I was the artist all along. He was just a subject, a compelling one for a time. His lines were strong, his colors were vibrant. But when the subject became corrupted, when the colors began to turn toxic and the lines began to blur with lies and greed, I didn't weep over the ruined canvas. I didn't set it on fire in a futile rage. A true artist knows that a masterpiece can sometimes only be saved by being brave enough to paint over the flawed, central figure. So I took my brush. I mixed new colors, colors of resilience, of cunning, of a quiet, unstoppable justice, of a peace earned through fire. And I painted him out. I painted a new landscape, one of vast open sea and limitless sky. I took what he loved the most. It was never Isabel. She was just another accessory, a shiny object. It wasn't even the money, not really. The money was just a scorecard, a way for him to keep track. No. What Liam loved most was his kingdom, his crown, the illusion of his own invincibility, the perception of control. That was the core of him, the sun around which his entire ego orbited. And I took it. I held it in my hand, this beautiful, glittering, hollow thing. And I showed him how fragile it really was, how it crumbled to dust at the slightest pressure of the truth. I didn't just knock the crown from his head. I held it up for the whole world to see its cheap, fake jewels before I melted it down before his eyes. And in the emptiness he left behind, in the profound quiet after the storm, I found not a void but a solid foundation, the person I was always meant to be before I ever met him, whole, complete, unbreakable, the artist, standing before a new blank canvas armed with hard-won wisdom and a palette of my own choosing. So if you're listening to this, and you feel a chill in your own beautiful, curated life, if you see a tiny hairline crack in the perfect surface, a whisper that doesn't sound right, a look that lasts a second too long, a story that doesn't quite add up, don't be afraid of it. Don't try to paper over it with denial or pretty excuses. Don't paint a happy little tree over the fault line. Look at it. Lean in close. Study the fracture line. Trace its path. Because that crack isn't the end of your world. It's the beginning. It's the first crucial glimpse of light from the other side. A signal that a wall needs to come down. On the other side of that shattered painting, beyond the broken glass and the dust of your old life, is your freedom. And let me tell you, it is the most beautiful, the most authentic, the most powerful masterpiece you will ever have the privilege to create.